I'm Chad from Chat Dog Sports, and today I'm here with MLB vet Travis Snider, and this is Catch a Conversation.
You know your stuff. I see you.
That's a pretty good question.
Batting 8, the left fielder, number 51, Ichiro Suzuki. Number 24.
Chad, you playing a game right now?
What age did you start playing baseball at?
I started playing T-ball at the YMCA here in South Everett when I was 3 years old.
When you were how old?
3.
3?
Yeah.
That's pretty young. That's actually the age I started too.
Yeah, a lot of those guys that I played with when I was 3 years old are still good buddies of mine today. Is that wind gonna blow you over?
Yeah. Can you speak up just a tad?
Yeah.
Hey. So when you guys made that run to the high school baseball championship in the state, what was that like?
I think that was like a dream come true for all of us guys that started playing when we were 3 and 5 and 7, 9 years old. To get to do that as 18-year-old seniors at Safeco Field, it was pretty special.
What was it like being a first-round pick here and your name called in the top 15?
It was crazy, man. Just all the hard work, all the people in my life that supported that dream for so long. It was kind of one of those steps for all of us to be able to celebrate all the hard work it took, and just grateful I got to share that day with friends and family and have a career to play for.
When you finally got called up, your first game was at Yankee Stadium. How was that?
50, 60,000 people with a whole new level third deck on the stadium. It just felt, I don't know, it was crazy, man. It was the old Yankee Stadium. Some of the guys I grew up dreaming about how they played, the Mickey Mantles and Babe Ruths of the world, got to play in that same stadium. So it was a really cool weekend experience. I got to fly all my my friends and family out to spend the weekend in New York City and just do it on the big stage, which was pretty cool.
Then you also got your first hit at Yankee Stadium. We were watching a clip of that, and it looked like Jeter, or I think it was either Jeter or A-Rod, came over and said something to you. Do you remember what they said?
Yeah, Jeter came over to me and asked me if that was my first one. I said yeah, and he congratulated me. So I guess I could say the first person that congratulated me on my first major league hit was Derek Jeter. Even though I don't know if he remembers it, but I definitely do.
What's it like finally hitting a home run in the MLB?
I don't know, just hitting home runs in general is one of the coolest things I've ever gotten to experience as a human being. But getting to do it in a stadium with thousands of people, especially as your dream, being a kid, getting to do that, it was really cool. I'll remember it for the rest of my life, that's for sure.
What age did you hit your first home run at?
9 years old, Mill Creek Little Leagues, not the same field we're standing on now, but played for the All-Star team, and we were in a tournament in Omak, Washington, 9 and 10-year-old state Little League championship, and I hit a home run, my first home run ever in minors or in All-Stars or anything. I mean, I was 9, so I don't remember too much of it, but I do know my grandpa got me a really cool wood bat that was engraved with my name and the date, and I still have that in my garage. So I got a couple of cool little things he did for me when I was in Little League to remember those special moments.
Do you remember if you did a bat flip?
No, but I used to spin the bat when I was up at the plate to intimidate the pitcher. As you're staring in, you'd be staring in like this, and I'm spinning my bat at you like I'm coming. So I don't know if in the moment I knew it was happening, but it finally paid off.
Well, we're back here at Travis Snider. We're just sitting on the bench. It was a little windy outside, so we'll do some conversations over here. So we'll start off. We got a rookie card of yours here. What was it like being on a rookie card for the first time?
Well, I was a lot younger, let's see here, about the same size as I was then. But thinking back to those days, man, I was 18 years old. I just got signed to play professionally and moved out to Pulaski, Virginia. Do you know where Pulaski, Virginia is?
I would assume in Virginia.
Yeah. Do you know what the Appalachian Mountains are?
Yes.
Somewhere in the Appalachian Mountains, that's where Pulaski, Virginia is.
Wow. Is that where you played minor leagues?
That's where I spent my first summer. That's where that picture was taken. And I actually have a good friend of mine that I still talk to. Is a 85-year-old woman, big fan from Pulaski, Virginia, Toots Witt. And just one of those baseball memories I'll remember for the rest of my life.
So with that being such a small town, is it crazy going from small town high school straight to a random small town in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, I mean, we got to travel and play baseball as kids, right? And go to Arizona and do, Oklahoma and some of these trips, but you're always with your parents, or you're with your teammates and their parents. So being on your own for the first time at 18, with some kids that went to college and already had that experience, I was definitely behind the curve, but my parents tried to expose me to some of those things before I went there, so it wasn't so much of a learning curve.
Did you have a billet family there, or were you just living on your own?
I tried to host family. They're awesome people, but I just wanted more privacy, so I ended up, funny enough, living with two other guys in a hotel room. One slept on a cot, and we had two beds that we would sleep in individually, and then eventually I moved into somebody's living room because that was just the best option available.
What was your reaction when you got told you were going to the show?
I was told the week before that I wasn't going to the show that year, so I had kind of shifted gears, getting ready to finish the season and go home, and then got the surprising welcome news that I was going to New York in the morning and that I needed to book flights for my family and friends to come out there and share that experience.
What was your immediate reaction when you got told that? I
was pretty speechless. There was a hitting coach that I had at a number of levels I became very close with, and the assistant general manager who drafted me out of high school that was there to deliver the news. So being able to share that moment with them was really special, and then call my friends and family and get them on the next plane out.
And then we have your first ever game jersey here. So this is the jersey that you wore at Yankee Stadium. It says 45 right here. Was 45 a special number, or did they just give you a random number?
That was a random number. I was 16 in Major League camp, my first Major League camp that year, and one of the coaches that was hired in the middle of the season took that number. So 45 is what I got, and I did not complain when they handed it to me.
Did you keep that number for Orioles and Pirates?
No, I switched to 23. That was the number that they gave me when I got there, which was pretty cool because Andrew McCutchen was 22 and then Pedro Alvarez was 24. And they were really special friends of mine during those times.
So you're stuck in the middle of those two, but I don't think that's really a bad thing.
No, not at all. And again, Jordan wore 23 as a basketball player, so I always thought that number was cool. And getting to wear that as a Pirate and then as an Oriole is something I'll forever remember.
And then when you were with the Pirates, you had that amazing catch, that one catch of the year where you robbed it like 7 feet over the wall. What was that like? Just robbing a home run in general?
You're probably too young to remember Ken Griffey Jr., but we got to grow up watching him do that on a regular basis as a Seattle Mariner, as a young player in the major leagues. So I always wanted to do that, and I practiced that a lot as a kid. And when that opportunity presented itself, you never know if you're actually going to make that play. And when I came down with the ball, I think I was as surprised as everybody else. But in the moment, I was almost too surprised to be able to enjoy it and celebrate it because I just couldn't believe that had happened.
When you're trying to rob a home run, are you trying to like climb the wall, or are you just trying to get as much elevation on your jump as you can?
It depends on the kind of wall, and you'll learn quickly. A chain link fence, you can put your cleats in there and climb like these fences out here, but if it's one of those hard plastic, glass type materials, you can't get any traction. So in that case, you're just jumping as high as you can and hoping you're catching it. But if the wall has link fences, or if it has a padding that you can dig into and propel yourself up, that's the whole idea, to get above the wall.
When you hit a walk-off hit, what's that like? Because you had multiple over your career in the MLB. What's just your reaction when you make contact with that, knowing that it's won the game?
You know that you're going to have 20 or 25 of your best buddies running around like little kids, screaming, yelling, dumping water on you, punching you, kicking you, pouring seeds on you. And in that moment, everybody's happy. We just won a game. And honestly, for somebody who's gotten to play team sports for as long as I can, winning games is a lot of fun, but walk-off wins, there's nothing that compares.
So you have the nickname the Lunchbox, so you're obviously pretty big into food, right?
Yes, I like to cook and I like to eat.
So my number one question I always ask people is, how do you like your steak done?
Medium rare, and anything more I feel is a crime, but if you're at my house and you want it medium well, you can ask my wife, I'll do it for you too.
Yeah, medium rare is definitely the way to go, in my opinion. When you were first called up to the major leagues, was there any guy that really took you under your wing?
Vernon Wells, B.J. Ryan, and the leader by example was Roy Halladay.
And then when you get traded, is that any different than getting called up with leaders, or is it just welcome to the clubhouse?
At that time, I had been in the league for a while, so it's different than getting called up, but a new experience, meeting new teammates, plugging into new leadership fields, and some of the closest relationships my wife and I have are with people from our time in Pittsburgh.
Being traded mid-game, you are one of the few people that can actually say that you literally got traded mid-game. How is that like?
I think probably the only one that did it on their home field too, here in Seattle, in front of my sister and all my friends. It was my sister's birthday, so sorry sis that we ruined your birthday with that, but it was a crazy emotional experience for all of us, but the next morning I'm on a plane flying to Wrigley Field and putting on a different uniform and going to try and help a different team win. So it's a crazy whirlwind experience.
What was the most difficult pitcher to face?
It's a good question. I get it a lot. I just think Aroldis Chapman's the easy answer. A left-handed guy that throws over 100 that early didn't know how to throw breaking pitches and now knows how to spot 3 pitches. So good luck.
What was the easiest pitcher to hit against?
Kevin Slowey. My first home run and my third career home run were off the same guy, and somebody that I've called for a number of years to try and get him back out of retirement.
Just so you can hit home runs
Just so
off
I
him?
can hit home runs off of him, yeah.
So when you came on the field to pitch, what was that like?
I had been lobbying for a few years in my career to get out there and have an opportunity to pitch in a blowout game. I was really excited when the coaches gave me that opportunity, so I ran to the bullpen pitchers and got spikes and got a pitching glove and got all fired up to be a pitcher, and then went down and threw in the bullpen, which I've done that a handful of times in my career. That's a weird experience because you don't practice throwing bullpens as a hitter, so it's completely foreign, and you have everybody in there looking at you like, do you have any idea what you're doing right now? And you're like, no, I don't, but I'm going to have fun doing it. And then you get to go into the game, which I was lucky enough to do, and strike out a guy like Joey Votto, which every clubhouse I've been in since then, everybody knows that I've struck out Joey Votto. That's probably the coolest moment of my career.
That's what you brag about the most?
I brag about that the most, yeah. I can feel good about bragging about that, for sure.
Not the home runs, striking out Joey Votto as an outfielder.
Everybody gets to hit home runs if you're a position player. Not everybody gets to strike out Joey Votto.
Did you play at all the ballparks in the whole MLB?
I did. I've been to Truist, the Braves' new stadium. That was after my last year in the major leagues, but I finished my pretty cool story. My last 2 stadiums were San Francisco and Colorado, Coors, and I don't know what they call San Francisco now. But my last 2 stadiums, I hit a home run, my first at-bat in both of those stadiums, to finally check them off the list.
All right, well, thanks for coming out. Travis Snider, everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me, man.